This third movement, within these four movements, the third movement is called the scroll. In this movement, we learn to curl the spine completely into itself, and then to uncurl in its extension, and from its extension releases from the pelvis and the pelvic floor to attain again its extension before it curls itself up back into heaven. Now, I'm going to do it and then explain details, because there are many things occurring in this movement, and you will see all the different stages of curling and uncurling within the spine. But they are wonderful because they are coordinated with the descending ascending spring of the bouncing springs, and also to facilitate even more release and movement within the spine. It's called the scroll, and it begins in heaven. Wonderful. So 5, 6, 7, and here we are, heaven. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This movement, the scroll, began in a little bit forward extended form that that heaven was. Heaven was here. This one is a little bit extended and closer to itself, and it's like an oval. And this oval facilitates the curling within the spine that, starting from the crown, curls into itself as the arms creates a movement called ram, which is in a spiral expressing the form of the horns within the ram. So I want you to see it. Just notice that the beginning, which is an oval, a little bit more extended and closer than heaven, and then the spiral of the arms facilitating the curling of the spine, and then the second spiral facilitating the uncurling of the spine. So just those details. 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and this is the oval. 1, 2, and this is the spiral of the ram. 4, this is the uncurling. 1, 2, the completion of the uncurling. The curling from the pelvis back into the whole spine, the uncurling, and now the 3 spirals connecting back into the oval. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oval. 1. The round. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wonderful. I want you to notice that in the scroll then, after the first curling of the movement, when the spine is completely curling to itself, the palms of the arms, as they move, the palms are facing up, and they rotate until they face down. And when the moment they get down, the spine curls as an outer mandala, curls the whole spine around into itself, right here, like curling inside, almost like thinking that I'm going to put my head between my legs to create the whole circle of the spine. And then you have 2 counts to go to foundation from here. And then you have 3 spirals: the spiral of the hip, the spiral of the heart, and the spiral of the crown. So the first one, hip, heart, complete the spiral of the crown as it goes into the oval. So there are 3 spirals in the last movement, the changing of planes and rotations of the arms, and the second uncurling of the spine. The outer mandala existing in the third movement when you, from the second curling, curl the spine back into itself. So I want you to notice those details now. I'm going to do the movement 3 times. Beautiful. 5, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go to the oval. 1, 2, 3, oval. Curling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Palms are facing up and start facing down. Now the outer mandala, releasing every vertebra into a circle. Now entering foundation, and that's the hip spiral, the shoulder spiral, the crown spiral, and here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the spiral of the hip, the spiral of the shoulder, the spiral of the crown. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, and round, uncurling from the crown to the pelvis. From the pelvis, curl back through all of the vertebrae to the crown. From the crown down to foundation, and from foundation, all the segments open up again. Wonderful. Okay, I want you to notice in the scroll now the function of the scroll and the function of the ram in the first movement of the arms. When it begins in the oval, look just the movement of the arms if I don't move the spine. It goes into a circle here, and it goes almost around my ears, like the ram, you see, around my ear, right here. So it's almost like I can touch my ears in this movement. So imply from here that my head is curling into itself, right there. It's almost like I'm going to do this motion, here and here and here and here, and I'm going to become like a little ball around the inside of myself. So the arms are facilitating again that curling, so my spine doesn't have to close in to curl, but it's like a papyrus that is scrolling into itself without closing, expanding at the same time that it is actually curling into itself. Yeah? And then once you begin the motion from here, in the first part of the scroll right here, and that's the ears of the ram. Now from here, when you extend a little bit the descending spring, I'm still in between. I'm not extended, you see. I am not completely dipped. I'm in between. I'm in spring in here. Now, when I begin, the second part of the curling is in outer mandala in my arms. I maintain the descending spring as I'm going through, so I can curl from the lateral planes in my rib cage. So it's not that from here I go around and I push the spine in. It's that the angles in which my arms are moving are allowing the vertebrae to curl into itself. And then from here, foundation, entering foundation, and that is the first scroll. Look, where is the first scroll? At the hip, you see? The second one as the heart, and the third as the head. Right there. So I want you to notice those details right now. The scroll coming closer to me in the ram, in the arms. The second is the amount of descending spring existing and maintaining itself in the second part of the movement. Then the coming into foundation, and the first spiral being the hip, the second will be in the heart, and the third being actually the crown. So 5, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and that's the scroll. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now the second movement. Descending spring is still, and now descending the spring as I'm moving through the spiral. Now coming to foundation, and this is the hip, and this is the shoulders, and this is the crown. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3. And now descending spring. Wonderful. Curling in, going into foundation. This is the hip, this is the heart, this is the crown. Yay, the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, heart, crown. Yay, that's the extension. So now I would like you to notice the counts. And if I tell you the counts in a very simple way, if you remember there is a little bit uneven in the counts, it will help you. So the way that you count the scroll is like that. First count is 1, 2, 3, 4. The second movement is 1, 2, 3. The third movement is 4, 1, 2. And then the last movement is 3, 4. And then the 4 counts of the scroll. So again, 4 counts to curl in, 3 counts to uncurl, 3 counts to curl back into the maximum extension, 2 counts to come into foundation, and 4 counts to go into the free spirals. Okay? So I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to do it twice without stopping, and then I'm going to do it twice, stopping in each of those places that the counts become specific points in a space. So you can learn it as counts and as placements in a space. So here we go. This is 0 point, and now I'm going to go to the oval. 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1 through the 7 centers. 2, 3, oval, ram. 1, 2, 3. That's the first 4. 1, 2, 3 is the second movement. 1, 2 is the third movement. 3, 4 is foundation, first scroll, second scroll, crown scroll, and going again. 1, 2, 3, 4. The palms are facing up and now are facing down. This is count 3. 4, 1. This is count 2. This is entering foundation, first scroll, second scroll, crown. Now, stopping the first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first, stopping. The second. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Second time. 1, second part of the scroll. 2, 3, the curling. 4, second part of the movement. 1, 2, this is the last moment. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, without stopping. 1, 2, 3, first 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Uncurling, complete. 3, 4. 1. Curling in. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3. Complete. 4. Wonderful. In the 3 different spirals, in the last movement, the 4th movement, before we get a foundation, and we have the first spiral of the pelvis, the spiral of the heart, and the spiral of the crown. I want you to notice that in the spiral, the first spiral, I am in an inner arc. I'm completely in the inner arc, which means that all the directions of my body are centralized in the pelvis and the pelvic floor. And my mind is acknowledged in that moment of suspension in a space, then my hips are really suspended in top of my hip joints, and I'm totally loosened. I am really, the whole center of gravity in that particular moment is centralized in my hips, but not down in my hip, as a suspended part of the balance. In the second spiral, the spiral of the heart, I'm unfolding now the scroll, or unfolding the inner arc, and I'm arriving almost to the vertical extension. And my mind is acknowledged in that moment that my shoulder girdle is really suspended in top of the rib cage. And in that moment, the center of gravity of the whole movement is centralized in my heart. And then in the last part of the spiral, the completion of the spiral, I'm passing through the extension and going to the outer arc, and then the center of gravity of the whole movement is in the center of my head as I arrive into the oval. So in those 3 spirals, there are 2 wonderful things that happen. One, that the physiology is actually balanced in that place, and the movements of the arms are facilitating that biomechanical expression, but also my mind is acknowledging and experiencing that instant of suspension that it goes from the lower center to the middle center, which is the heart, to the higher center, which is the hip. So in the beginning you may think that the movement is sort of a design that it looks nice, so it has nice form, but in reality the movement is facilitating the acknowledgement and the experience of these 3 main centers, because in unity and motion the 3 main centers of the body are the pelvis and the legs, the arms and shoulder and chest, arms, shoulder girdle, and chest, and then head on top of the atlas of the spinal column. Okay? So notice that in the 3 spirals of the arm in the last movement, again, the centralization of each spiral being the center of gravity, and then the completion of the whole unfolding of the spine, passing through a vertical, because he never arrived to like a true vertical extension, like in 0 point, because from then it just passes directly to the outer arc. All right? So we go in 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and that's the beginning of the round. 2, 3, and the completion of the curling. 4, 1, 2, 3, and now 4, 1, the lower center of gravity, pelvis and pelvic floor. Now this is 3, 4, and now that's the hip. And this moment is the suspension of the hip. Hip, now the suspension of the shoulder girdle, right here. Now the suspension of the head, right there, and here I'm going. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the hip, that is the heart, and that's the head. Last time. Ooh, here I go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And now from the pelvis to the solar plexus to the throat, head, crown, going back to the pelvis. Now that's the pelvis, that is the chest, that is the head, and here I am. Yay, ready to go.